So next up, we've got Elona joining us. Elona's going to give us an introduction to Facebook and Instagram ads. So that will be great. So Elona is our senior social media exec. She has been with us for a couple of years now, and she loves to kind of get involved in the marketing side of things, hosting charity events from a young age, and also to this very day. She has a passion for marketing, which grew stronger after being given the opportunity to take part in a social media boot camp. And she did some work experience with us back in 2016. And then here she is as part of our own Anicca digital team. So exactly the same as Bhakti in the paid media team, but specializes in social media. So I'm going to hand over to Elona now, and she can start off her talk. One second, we seem to have an issue with getting her on. Let me just double check. One second. Few technical issues. Like I said, it wouldn't be a virtual event without some technical issues. Oh.
Hi.
Yay. I'll leave you to it, Elona.
Thank you. Thanks, Jazz. Sorry for the technical fault, guys. Hi, so I'm Elona. I am a senior social media exec at Anicca, and I've been with Anicca for about 2.5 years now. I have over 5 years experience in digital marketing. My passion in digital marketing actually stemmed from a hybrid interest in psychology and creativity, which you'll find are key elements when looking at advertising. I'm personally a huge social media junkie myself. I love social media. And I've worked on both B2C and B2B clients, as Jess mentioned. And in my spare time, I enjoy creative things. So I'm going to be introducing you to Facebook ads. So if you've been considering it for your business, this might be the ideal webinar for you. The aim of this is to understand why Facebook advertising is effective for your brand. It's also helpful to learn the functionality and features on a platform. Usually people sort of briefly go over Facebook and miss the details in knowing that there's so much to it and is actually quite detailed, but fairly straightforward to use as well. And hopefully from this, you will build the confidence in setting up and managing an ad account for your business or service. So Facebook ads, why would you use it? So Facebook has over 1.13 billion daily active users, and 91% of them actually access Facebook via mobile. The average user spends about 50 minutes on Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger every day. And yes, Facebook owns Instagram. Organic reach on Facebook has been in decline for a few years now. And if you do want to break through as a business, Facebook is a pay-to-play network. It pretty much prioritizes the friends and family aspect. So if you are a business, it will actually impact the organic activity. So the post you would send out rather than the paid activity. The targeting options within Facebook ads is amazing. Your business can target users by location, demographics, age, gender, interest, behavior, and more. So Facebook ads is one of the most effective tools out there to grow your business, create loyal customers, and generate leads or sales. So there are pros and cons to everything. Facebook advertising's pros are campaigns are easy to track, immediate increase in website traffic, you have complete control over your daily budget, there's an instant return on investment, large targeting options, the cost per click is relatively cheap, but it does depend on your industry. It's an easier way of setting up ads in comparison to Google AdWords. The ability to reach people early in the buying process is great because you're giving the product or service to them before they even expect it. So they aren't aware of their needs. But once you advertise to them, they finally, get involved with your brand. Remarketing is available. So if people have previously landed on your site, you can always remarket to them. And you can use images and videos to capture the interest of your target market. So it helps you sell your products and services. So it's a very creative way of actually pushing your brand. The minor cons is if the campaigns are set up and managed incorrectly, it can be costly. So just be aware and be cautious of how you're strategically planning your Facebook ads. The most suitable for operating in B2C markets for Facebook. Due to competition with over 3 million businesses using Facebook ads, you may need a sizable budget to get your desired results. Generation Z prefer platforms such as Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok. So that might negatively impact your targeting, especially if you're targeting younger age bands. So getting started with Facebook, what do you need? You basically need a Facebook page for your business. You need a business manager account and the objective for your advertising activity. So whether it's engagements, conversions, and also an idea of your budget as well as a credit or debit card at hand. So before we delve into the strategic side of it, we want to understand the Facebook structure, so the campaign itself. So here you'll notice I've bullet pointed sort of the campaign level, ad set level, and ads. So at campaign level, it's basically the foundation of your ad. So when you decide to run an ad, you'll always start with the campaign. At ad set level, you'll create an audience for your ad using Facebook's targeting options. So as I've mentioned, you can target the age and all sorts of demographics. That's where you'd essentially put that in. At the ad level, you'll choose your ad's creative. So this would be the images, the text, the call to action to help actually amplify that message. So when you're planning each Facebook campaign, before starting, you need to know what your objective is, who your audience is, and what your budget and time frame would be. And what assets do you have available? Do you have images and videos and even content? And do you have an ideal landing page? Do you have a URL to your website that is actually ideal for users to commit that transaction or the ideal pursuit of your ad? And of course, is the content ideal and suitable for your objective? So I've pretty much gone through the guided creation, the standard objective, audience targeting, placement, budget, and advertising format and creative. These are the 5 bullet points you basically need as a strategic point of view when continuing with your Facebook activity. So the first one being objective, you need to find out what your business goals are. So it's important to know what you want to achieve. And from this, Facebook allows a list of objectives really that you can pick from. So with awareness, if you are looking to build your business in terms of people's awareness, brand awareness would be an ideal objective. If you're looking for reach, so just to push out the ad to as many people as possible, but within your target audience, the reach objective would be ideal. If you're looking for consideration, so people who you might not want to do a cold call sale, but more so build your sort of brand through Facebook, it would be a traffic campaign, for example. So website traffic is perfect if you want to send users to a particular URL to inform them of a product or service, potentially one that's coming up. You might have a new product and you want to just push users to understand what exactly you do with that product. You have engagement, so you might actually find that you want to increase the number of likes, comments, and shares from your current posts. So engagement ads are perfect for that. You've got app installations as well, so you can send people to a shop where they can download your business's app. Video views, so send users to watch the video that they are more likely to watch, as Facebook has great algorithms to match those objectives. You have lead generation, so collecting leads for your business. Once you've created the ads, you can actually create an on Facebook form fill, and from that you can get people's details, and it's essential for things like signing up to newsletters if you want to build that sort of platform there. You have messages as well, so you can even send messages via Messenger. It's a much more sort of informal way of doing sort of advertisement, but it does work depending on the objective. And then finally, we have conversions. So if your ideal pursuit here is to just get sales, you can tailor it to that. You can also do catalog sales, so it actually shows products from your e-commerce store's catalog to generate sales, which you can incorporate into Facebook's platform. And then there's also store traffic, and that's to allow people to locate your business. So you can target people. There's geo-targeting, and you can target people nearby to your stores, which will then allow them to know that there is a store nearby. So when picking a targeting option, you have three sort of forms to do this. So you can reach new audiences, the first one being via the interest audience category. So this would be refining your audience through demographics, financial behavior, and job and interest data. The next one would be custom audiences. So you can actually re-engage with existing customers or website visitors. You can even upload CRM lists so that you can target people that are relevant and actually have bought from you before or potentially shown interest on your website or your mailing list. Just with the mailing list, though, it's relevant to know that it connects to the people's emails that are signed up to the Facebook account. So people who have a Facebook account sign up to the email, it will locate those kind of people. A lookalike audience, you can actually build audiences that are similar to the target audience groups. So if you did build a custom audience or you did build an interest audience, ideally from the custom audience, you can then create a lookalike audience. So for example, if I wanted to target people that visited my website in the last 90 days, I could then create a lookalike audience off the back of that, which will use Facebook's smart algorithms to generate an audience that is even bigger that you can test with. So choosing placements for your ads. So there's one thing that people aren't essentially aware of, and it's that there are several placements that Facebook serves the ads through. And if it's chosen as automatic, it will appear on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and Audience Network. Alternatively, so you can manually stop certain ads from showing. So for example, Audience Network is sort of more external. So in that sense, you can stop that so that it's more in platform and more on Facebook and Instagram or Messenger. So you can manually switch those off, like shown in this graph here. Facebook budget options. So there are two options. You can pick between the daily budget and the lifetime budget. So if you use a daily budget, you are actually setting the average amount you're willing to spend on a day-to-day basis. This does require more maintenance. And it's suggested if you're creating a campaign on an ongoing basis rather than having a sort of end date. So with lifetime, we would recommend using a lifetime budget if you have a specific end date and a start date. That way you can monitor the budget accordingly through that timeline, rather than having to go in and out of the campaign to see what your budget is basically doing. There's also a bidding strategy. So with Facebook, it either has an automatic version, so it allows you to reach as many people and benefit from Facebook's algorithm, or the alternative would be through a manual cost cap or bid cap. So when you enter how much the interaction is worth to you, it allows greater control over the budget. So that's the only difference there, is if you do want more control over the sort of bidding strategy, you can manually enter that. With advertising formats, so onto the creative side of it, which is very important when you're trying to promote your product or service. Facebook and Instagram have 5 standard advertising formats. So these are image, video, carousel, collection, and instant experiences. So you should pick the advertising format that best meets your objective. So the first one is a single image ad. So this is the sort of example, and I'm pretty sure many of you have been served a single image ad before if you've been on Facebook or Instagram. So with this, in terms of the specs, we recommend a minimum pixel size of 600 by 600. You do want the highest quality image possible, because this pretty much is the first thing users will see before they continue reading the text that you join with the image. The importance of the image is basically to show off your product. You really want to focus your message on the product. So these are just a few tips here. For example, cropping tightly around the important part of the image, just so that people can really see what your message is. Facebook video ads. So again, it's a common ad that people might have come across, and it's a great way really to generate that interest. And if you find, well, I found with some of our clients, if they don't have any video assets, we actually create videos from their image assets, and that's easily done through the video creation kit that Facebook allows. And you basically upload your images, and it gives you a template, and you can even include your logo, text overlays, and backgrounds. And it helps sort of create a cute little nice video from images without having to do all the fancy stuff with all that great gear and massive budget. So there are definitely creative ways of conveying your message on Facebook. Facebook carousel ads. So this is a single ad which contains 2 or more images. So if you feel like you want to convey a message not only through one image but more, you can easily do this by listing out a few images. And these are just the design specs I've featured for you to look back at if you feel like you need some help when uploading these. We have a Facebook collection ad example. So Facebook collection ads, they're not as common, but they are a great way of giving the user essentially an instant experience. So if you were to pair a video or imagery with relevant products to engage people, you can see in the images here, it starts with either an image or a video that you can upload, and then also feature your products underneath it. So that way you're actually showing the product in a sort of lifestyle image form, and then also the studio side of it. So here's what we actually offer, here's the price, and it sends users directly to your website as well. So it's a great way to sort of endorse your products in a full screen experience. So similarly to the collection ads, you've also got the instant experience ad, very similar, except the instant experience is a full screen experience that's actually optimized to mobile devices. There's 3 great opportunities here. It's very easy to create. There's some templates that you can build from. It's fast loading. It's actually 15 times faster than standard mobile web, and it's good for any goal. So whether you want new customers, you want just the general brand awareness or product information, this is a great way to capture your audience in a full screen experience, so that they're not just seeing a single image ad and left on Facebook. It sends them directly to this experience, and then you can even navigate them to your website to continue that user journey. So how would you measure your success? So the 3 main points would be the reach. So the number of people you're actually reaching. You can see that obviously the more, it's usual that the more money you put in, the more budget, the more people you're going to reach, essentially. But it is important to understand the number of people you're reaching, because you always monitor that and measure it against the other success rates, for example, cost per click. So you can measure the cost per click. How much is it costing you for every time someone clicks on your ad? It's important to monitor that, as well as the cost per 1,000 impressions. That depends on what you set that as. You have the interaction rate. So how many people are engaging with your ad? It shows you the number of people. So how many likes you've got, how many comments, how many shares, and you can get that information from the Facebook Ads Manager. You've also got the relevancy score. So Facebook will sometimes show you how relevant your ad is to the audience you've set. And if you've noticed that your relevancy score might be lower, you can always help increase that by optimizing your ads and tailoring your audience even more, so that you'll notice that the relevancy score might potentially increase. You've also got the click-through rate. Click-through rate is really important, especially if you're sending users to your website. You want to know how many from that ideal audience is actually going to your website and clicking through. We genuinely like to monitor that as a sort of KPI, because it is great to know whether the audience is ideal at that point. And then you've also got completed plays, so the number of people that have watched your video, the full amount of the video. And then in terms of the actions, of course, the purchase consideration. So did people maybe send an inquiry form, or did they call? You can track these all through Facebook. And then you've also got the sales attributions. So how many purchases did you get from your Facebook activity, as well as the cost per acquisition. So how much did it cost you per sale, and was it worth it? What's the return on investment? So performance metrics, Facebook will allow you to view all of this. It's very easy to understand the data and the metrics on Facebook, because you can basically pick and choose what you want to see. So here's an example. You can just tick which parts are important to you. And once you've clicked apply, within Ads Manager, you should be able to see a row of all the metrics you need in order to sort of justify your measurements and successes. So campaign metrics and history. So you can also, on a daily basis, what we like to do is go into the live ads, or even previous. So if it's been set up and then we look at it after to monitor and report on it, we would go into here and we'd look at the demographics, the placement and delivery. So it's important to look at this because it gives you an indication of who exactly you're targeting. And from then on, you can move forwards by either optimizing and even tailoring the audience even further. So for example, demographics, here you can see both male and females separated, as well as the age bands. And if you notice that, for example, the age bands 18 to 24 is performing better, you can always go into the ad set and alter the age band so that you tailor it to that audience. Plus, you would ideally know who your age band targeting is anyway before starting, but this gives you a clear indication of who is actually interested. You've also got placement. So again, as mentioned, you can either set it as automatic or manual. Here, for example, we're only targeting the audience network and Facebook, and you'll find that some perform better than others, and from that indication you can then manually go in and set it to Facebook, for example, or one particular placement, so that it is cost effective rather than spending on other placements that you might find there's no results really. So the basic tactics for optimizing delivery, depending on your results, you may want to modify the way your ads are displayed. So as I mentioned, there are always opportunities for you to tailor your audience and continue testing with the sort of, whether it's demographics, whether it's the budget. There's so many things you can continue changing, and don't be afraid to do that. If anything, it's actually encouraged. So there are examples of things you can change. It's the placement, the demographics and characteristics of your audience, testing with new audiences such as lookalike or remarketing audience. And don't be afraid to test with two different interest audiences, for example, with totally different interests, but they're still relevant to your ideal sort of targeting, because you'll find that one will always alternate with the other and there will be differences. And it's highly encouraged to do some testing before you start rocketing with the ideal targeting. It's also recommended as well, highly encouraged to do some remarketing activity. If you find that with interest audiences, it might be a bit of a stubborn audience, to get your audience more warmed up to your brand, especially if they aren't familiar with your brand. So another highly encouraged audience would be remarketing, because you're targeting people that have previously been on your site. They know about your brand. It's more so, here's a discount, or here's sign up to our mailing list for 10% off your next order. Those sort of things are great incentives for you to then have the maximum impact that you really want and to see those results. Copy and call to actions. So again, if you find that your performance is quite slow, it might be worth creating new ads. So it might be worth testing some new imagery and maybe keep it seasonal or festive. There might be products with a sort of Christmas background. There's so much you can do with the creative, and I feel like it should definitely be explored more than usual, so that you can have the opportunity to see what exactly works for your brand. As well as the copy as well. So if you feel like maybe the text is a bit boring, you can even add emoji. Please don't be afraid to be creative, obviously depending on the form. But yeah, that is pretty much everything. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you, Elona.